Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hello and welcome to IMP's AEW Adventures podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Help the network out by leaving us a 5-star review, give a donation directly through Red Circle, and become one of the amazing community by joining the Social Suplex Discord. A link is in the description. Read the Social Suplex newsletter. Shout out to Trish and Tim as always, and to every person who's contributed so far. Listen to the other top-notch shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Trish and Sarah, Tunnel Talk, Sam Brown's AEW Match Guide, and Joe Around. My name is Matt Maher, aka Imp, and this is your quick look back at the AEW week that was. 30 minutes of Viva La Mexico and Come On England, Grand Slam Mexico, and the England FA Cup styled Continental Cup, which kicked off on Collision. Highlight of last year's Canada, Grand Slam Mexico returning again and once again being a top-notch show. Very much ran over. They were hyping it the entire time as this is going to be a 2.5-hour show, and I didn't believe them for a second. And looking online as well, it felt like other people didn't believe them, so when suddenly it's like a 20-minute run or whatever it was, it's like, of course it was. We were never expecting it to be 2.5 hours. We knew this would be 3, which does just make it odd. It's like, if everybody knows it's not going to be that length, like, you don't need to promote it as if it's going to be. The place that was the birth of Fuck Ice Brody King and pro-immigrant Adam Page. What grand tidings will this year bring? A bloody electric crowd, I'll tell you that. And the Continental Cup kicked over on Collision, and we'll talk about that afterwards. So let's go on over to Mexico, to Arena Mexico in Mexico City. The venue, which is responsible for me for never remembering the name of the Azteca because I keep calling it Arena Mexico. I wonder if that's a problem for anyone else who's got the football and wrestling crossover. Am I the only one that keeps calling the Azteca the Arena Mexico? And we'll start with a wrestler that Mexico absolutely loved. Adam Copeland's first match in Arena Mexico. The old Canadian got the ticket off the bucket list, and they responded to him with an absolutely incredible reaction. Unfortunately for my format, for my clip, I've already done the Copeland fan singing the song bit for my clip intro, so you know what, instead, let's do a sound clip of him getting pinned. The exact opposite of the crowd cheering for him. Let's instead play the clip of Lucha Cope and Father Cage teaming with the Young Bucks as they lost to John Moxley, Pac Wheeler Yuta, and Danny Garcia of the Death Riders.
Copeland ducks under Pac. Oh! Ran into Matt Jackson. Well, roll up here by Moxley. He's got a handful of trunks.
Yes, a quick note before we get into the main flow of talking about the match and its structure, whatever. Pac wearing an England shirt after we beat them in the World Cup last month. The Heat brother, just Pac wearing it in. Like, we beat you in Mexico. Just rubbing it in their face. And this was straight up a party tag to set us off. Arena Mexico crazy loud to watch Cope do his wrestlings. Mox with the middle fingers after hitting a cutter on the old man. Before Cope and Nick called back to a different former Edge tag partner, Double 619. Like, hey, if it looks shit, why not have two of you do it? If both of us look shit doing it, then you're going to not really notice how shit it really was. Mox teased hitting a spear earlier, but when Adam did his little corner crouch, Mexico City erupted like it was the most over thing in the world. Like, oh my god, he's going to do the spear. But he would have been like this star wrestler from the other company which they've never got to see and never thought they would get to see. And obviously these are fans who watch AEW. Christian had his unique offense though. I'm not sure he actually hit a move that wasn't a direct kick to someone's groin. Even Marina Shea got a swift boot right up there for interfering. And given this gets uploaded to YouTube, I can't say what this got called on Blue Sky. I can't say it. It seemed that people did go around it. Let's say, if it's the dick kick, this is the punt. Can't say it. Definitely what Christian calls it. It comes across the kind of character of... if he was allowed to, Christian would be a very sweary character. Mox ate a lot of offense trapped into flows, but Death Rider distraction constantly saved him. The Rider's the better unit all working together. Yuta distracted the ref so there was no spear count. Then a quick wee Mox roll up to snatch the win off Old Man Cope. AEW do love their roll ups in their tag matches. It's almost like in WWE you would get 50-50 booking, or you get massive distractions to try and save them when taking the loss isn't anywhere near as damaging as WWE seems to think it is, or at least how they train their audience to think it is. But AEW, in return, does a lot of roll-ups. I do agree that in the complete flow of the chaos and the moment and whatever, you're not always going to have your time to hit your finish, and it does make sense for the finish of matches to not always be your finisher. Like, someone can score a roll-up, and I guess that's part for me of the AEW flows. You buy a lot of the roll-ups because a lot of matches do end in roll-ups, and the only way to sell that roll-ups are a danger, I guess, is to quite often have them be the winning. But, you know, they use it quite a lot. Not that it matters in a match like this. This is a fun party match. I guess that's the other thing as well. You can definitely do a finish like that in a fun party tag, because the crowd's had so much fun in the world, it doesn't really matter in the end. Damn, that's me getting very close to wins and losses don't matter. They very much do. I just mean in the viewing of it from a fan perspective. From their point of view, if they've had such a fun time throughout this kind of party match, a sudden end to it doesn't really mean anything in taking away their enjoyment. And my God, the momentum of this show immediately carried on into the number one spot casino gauntlet all-in match. Andrade versus Commander versus Tommaso Ciampa. We will be getting a second one next Wednesday, but here was the spot number one. America Ciampa, suddenly a full patriot in red, white and blue, caping the US flag and all. The US are very much the rest of the world's international villains right now. As an Englishman, I'm very happy to have that moniker taken away from us and given to another country. Like, America, that's your mantle now. The world hates you. Take it. Max has been running with it for like 2 or 3 years already. We're in Mexico, so no hanging about giving them Commander's rope walk. Like, one of the first moves, and it looked bloody incredible. Fancy speaking to Neo set up our pretty ringside lady selfie. The woman too busy taking the selfies to give Andrade his amp-up kiss on the cheek, and oh no, he's going to lose now, because Ciampa struck instant karma, then in the ad break stole the phone to take an unsolicited dick pic. Bad Ciampa, no. Back on air, Andrade's got to get that fire back, so off came the trousers. Which is what I've been calling for. Either in the ultimate hyping, amping moment of the final match, the crowd's already going, yeah, and he's trying to lift them up the gears, and that's when he takes them off to lift them up another gear. Like, hits a great move, yeah, rips the trousers off, yeah. I'm totally up for using it for like a double pop at some point. But also here, he's trying to amp up, so off comes the trousers because he's trying to get the crowd behind him. Wrestling's weird. Ciampa then took his frustration out on said trousers. The van very much had a weird one down in Mexico. Andrade busy setting the weird man up in the corner. Commander rope spring pop up to reverse Rana looked fucking beautiful, but not as beautiful as the Tornillo reverse Rana a minute later. That first move's over, like, that looked glorious. Then when he does the rotation into the one on Andrade, it's like, Jesus Christ. Commander looked absolutely amazing in this match, and Andrade was such a perfect dance partner for him. A sudden snap into the DM for the Andrade win. So he gets the number one favoured spot, and he put on MJF's diamond ring. He cut a Spanglish promo, nice and passionate. He's going to win the Casino Gauntlet and get his match at the World Championship. Said he's going to be the first Hispanic AEW champion. We've heard that echo before. Wants to win it for all of Mexico. And those who do not think he can become champion, he has one question: how you know? And MJF returns, clobbered Andrade in the back with his Triple B championship. That was kind of Kenny to give it back to Max. They had it last week. Speaking of, Max also took his diamond ring back and soaked up all the pair or chants. Beat El Idolo up on the ramp all bloody. There's a reason MJF returned in a white tank top. Someone get that piece of trash out of this piece of shit country in full America villain mode. Andrade won't be winning any world championship because Maxwell Jacob Friedman is going to be the one to win the all-in Casino Gauntlet. As incredible a character MJF is, it is interesting he's ended up in the Casino Gauntlet for 2 years running. But we are setting up him and Andrade finally getting towards that. I've been calling for Andrade with Ospreay to be the very first thing after Wembley. If you just start off the reign with an incredible wrestling match, that'd be a really great bar set, a 4 wheels reign, to start with an absolutely incredible wrestling display. Then you can get into the character stuff after that. But then I also want to get to Andrade MJF, which we were teasing during MJF's title reign. Mercedes Moné and Divine Dominion versus Willow Nightingale and the Brawling Birds. We chose party tag time tease for 2 of our Wembley dancers. We've already seen how great Mercedes and Willow can be together, but the Divine Dominion Brawling Birds promised a potential clobber fun. We got a lot of Willow and Mercedes, like each woman wanted to go at the other, just constantly interrupted by the tag fall. Not the kind of telly tag where you hold off from showing the pay-per-view pairings. They just directly had the Wembley women all hitting each other. All 4 tag letters down, Willow and Mercedes back and forth until an eventual Willow roll-through win. I did say it happens a lot. No substantial angle or tiff set up for the road. We got that last week and we get a little bit of that on Collision. Instead, this was a bit like a blow-off of sorts of what they've been building up to. Now all the parties will go their separate ways in their direct builds to Wembley. Like, we're not carrying this out. We're not going to be like, we'll do this dance again or anything like that. Like, these pairings are done now and they'll be all separate. I feel like regarding some of these matches, especially Mercedes Willow, there might be more to say next week or not the week after. I mean, Mercedes Willow had such a good angle last week that is the real motivation point to carry us all the way to Wembley. But we need to follow up at least one segment. Right, now on to my personal match of the night. Oh, was it the main event? And I enjoyed the hell out of the opener as well. This is a solid show. Like, if I've not been clear enough because I'm talking about the actual matches and not just going good, bad on the matches, I enjoyed the show so much. There were no promos, there were no breaking up of the actual show. It it was just like bang, 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 like a pay-per-view. Like match after match after match. Every advertisement break was in the middle of the match. We floated to the next match. There were like no breaks at all. But the AEW International Championship, Kyle Fletcher versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Both out in masks, but Boo Baddie Kyle stepped on his. How dare. Commentary banged on about the altitude right before Fletcher lawn darted Bailey into the barricade. Bailey got his moonsault outside, but Fletcher got him right on cue to rain through the ad break. Returned to another moonsault, this time springboard with a barricade crash. Kyle with crazy eyes just looked up to suplex poor Speedball onto those entrance steps. Ate a head scissors spin for his troubles. Then another moonsault. Hurt Bailey more with them not exactly clearing every step. Full flow Fletcher snapped in. All it took was a ringside oof to crash Bailey ready. Corner kick brainbuster 1-2 kick out. The flow again not working for the Aussie, having to go for that turnbuckle brainbuster, which set up such an incredible reaction to the next false finish. Ultimate weapon, shooting star double knees, Arena Mexico on their feet, counting along. But Fletcher kicks out, and I don't know the last time I saw a crowd standing on their feet so convinced they're about to see a title change. And then they kick out and they're already on their feet, so when it's the disbelief, it's like hands on heads moment. Right back to that trusted Fletcher full final flow. Corner kick, turnbuckle brainbuster for the win. Hell of a buzzing atmosphere as the man lifted up his title. And I was just talking about in terms of the flow of the show, right into the coin drop. Like, I've seen an incredible match and there's absolutely no break because now it's time for a sing-song. Just, by the way, your megastar's coming out next. There's absolutely no breaks on this show. But yeah, go out of your way to watch Speedball versus Kyle Fletcher. Incredible match. I mean, to be fair, I'm going to say, go out of your way to watch at least Cope's entrance, the main event, the international match, and also watch the entrances for this match. This was just such an electric show all night. Even after the show when Tony Khan came out, the fans were all chanting, "Thank you, Tony." Show receiving like rave reviews locally. Like, just absolutely nailing their trip down to Mexico. Right, so into the megastar. Don Callis family, Kazuchika Okada, Hechisero and Kevin Knight versus Darby Allin, Jericho and Mystico. We got a proto-Okada stare down on the ramp. The Don Callis family teasings are really bubbling. And we got two choruses for Mystico's entrance. Unsurprisingly, something special in Mexico. And a good old laugh at Okada putting his hands over his ears. It's an incredible shot of Mystico up in the corner doing his pose as the crowd are singing his song, and right in the foreground is Okada putting his fingers in his ears. Just like, no. He is so good in this role. Corazon de Leon, way back Jericho, rewinding to his CMLL and Wrestling and Romance days. The crowd properly sang Judas 2. Production made the early good call to just let all of the entrances play out at full length. If you wonder what took the show to 30 minutes long over, it's stuff like this. They weren't like, oh, we're on TV, we haven't got that much time so we'll get through the entrances. Like, no, this was, we have as much time as we like. You're getting Mystico in full, you're getting Judas in full. Darby Allin gets to be all brooding until Kevin Knight twists him inside out. Like, it was suddenly just a really special feeling. And to be fair, I was talking about having no breaks. This is the best you get. Like, you get a mental break from watching the wrestling. It's a very different flavour. Suddenly you're going from high intensity Bailey Fletcher to having a lovely sing-song. Like, you could have had a pee during these entrances. These could be your break. However, who's taking a break during these entrances? And when I say, watch the entrances of this, because the entrances of this are just such a great, incredible atmosphere. The way they snap us into the match when it's time as well is so well done. So I was watching this, I got the feeling they wanted to sing Darby's too, so they just sang the last two entrances. So you saved the best for last, but no one knows the words to Darby's theme. Just going, Darby, that'll do. And Bluminek, Kevin Knight's lariat turned this skateboarding down the ramp guy inside out, and a hilariously great bump, and immediately snapped us away from the sing-song back into the wrestling. Darby gave me multiple bloody hell reactions, to be fair. The pre-ad break move, a glorious no regard too. Just a full pelt dive met by mid-flight by a ringside Okada dropkick. Mega pop for Mystico's tag in, flash snap to take on all three Don Callis dickheads. Just such a buzz in that arena the second that man started doing anything. In spite of all the damage, Allin all amped up to go at Kevin Knight again. Scorpion Deathlock and Jericho with the walls. Every goodie gets a dive. Jericho splash out on Okada, Darby coffin drop to Knight, and Mystico over the ring posted the CMLL World Champion Hechisero. Great little spot with the camera on Kevin Knight setting up the coast to coast. Then from off camera, Jericho spat in with a Judas effect when the man's flight was half across. Walls to Okada again, let Mystico to Hechisero, allowed Darby to coffin drop Knight for the win. Incredible atmosphere. I called the opening a party, but that was a party. That atmosphere from the sing-song, just the fans having a lovely, jubilant time, that carried through the entire match. So when it was announced and we saw it, like, that's feckin' random. But the level of stars in that match, absolutely made by the crowd, and the wrestlers 100% met what they were being asked to deliver with the kind of atmosphere they're in. The way I've talked about it, maybe that's a go and watch it as well. It wasn't on my list, I have my 3. Suddenly that this match is such an entertaining party. This is what I mean, it's a great show. If you've got 3 hours free, which is difficult for a lot of wrestling fans, especially if you're like in G1 season, like finding extra time if you need to watch something, it's like generally, it's an amazing show. Persephone versus Chris Statlander. Our 1 weak point of the night. I still continue to not gel with the booking of this Shida Stat feud. Stat showed off all athletic before switching to big strong, slammed Persephone onto her shoulder for a lovely weak point for later. Back from break for the match to properly wake up. Boo, yay, boo, yay. Chris won out, but oof, her 450 landed hard on her legs. Persephone after had a funny little awkward bit with Thunder Rosa. I get the spot they were going for, but it just didn't feel right at all watching it. The face-painted woman sat front row, pulled over the barricade, and then just had to wait a beat, then another beat, then there we go. Ties your belt shot to Rosa's face. Stat launched her body off the apron and sent the ref down. There's our Shida shot to the head interference, made good on helping Persephone out. Frog splash springboard for the lengthy ref wait and eventual win. Maher and Hyan eventually ran out to help, and that set up our tag match for Collision. But yeah, the whole referee distraction thing, it feels a little weird. Thunder Rosa was in position ready, and it wasn't just one beat off, it was like nearly 3. Just standing there waiting to get hit. Which then makes the entire interference just feel a little bit, and that's the entire finish. It's like, okay, it's just fallen a bit flat. I'm still not super excited by the Shida stat stuff. I feel like it definitely does stem a bit from the survival of the fittest match, which I was just so disappointed in. I feel like has kind of had ripple effects. The good ripple has been Shida then flowing into my world. I feel like that's a genuinely good ripple. Because I do feel like if Shida was still champion and they were doing the stat stuff in this way, so it's the same matches, it's the same build, but Shida's champion, I feel like I'm less interested because it would just scream that we'll go to stat Shida and I wouldn't be that interested. This would feel like standard booking. But because my world's champion, the main two are still Shida versus stat, but my world got the title. So I'm calling it a positive currently, but let's see with the all-in road and the build and we got all out after that. Like, am I going to stay positive on this choice? The AEW Trios Championship, The Demand versus Brodido and Hangman Page. Viva La Mexico. All 3 challengers in bandit fit. Hangman's name bar saying that he's a little bit concerned about the sombreros. Being like, should I be wearing this? Out with a mini fella too called Kemalito. The man got the biggest reaction of the match, getting stomped down on by all 3 Demand baddies. One last party tag to send us off. Like, what is this show if not just a run of party tags with the odd belter? We've got our main event Violence to come, so let's just have another little party. Beginners had none of the goodies, having a Ween Macarena dance though. Tease giving us buckshot time, but the champions kept being cut off of the fun. Hangers with the man stuck and singled out, taking all the offense. But nay finisher thanks to Big Brody Woof Woof. Cannonball gave Hangers his room to dance with Dickhead Richard, hot tagged Bandido, but the Leona blind tag got him to the biggest of big strong boys. All 3 grown men on his shoulders. Incredible spot. All set for it, Leona too strong to 21-20 plex. So instead we got a buckshot into the Bandido suplex. 1, 2. Crowd cheers to win because they read the referee jumping down at the first count. 3. New trios title. I think if Mike Bandido also lets go when he hears the crowd cheer, as he also thinks, the crowd are cheering, that means it's definitely been the 3. Technically let's go, but who cares? If the crowd are popping for it that much, like, you've done your job. And then afterwards we got a Hey Macarena. Yeah. And in the cartoon graphic that they did for the new champions, very nice touch as having Brody King nice and subtly wearing his Fuck Ice shirt. He's wearing his mask, he's wearing his big coat, he's got a title strap around him. Like, you'd have to be relatively knowledgeable about what the very middle of that shirt looks like to notice that it's that, but it's noticeable. Then into the main event, Mexico City Street Fight, Will Ospreay versus Mark Davies. Alright, Will, you're on the path to the main event of Wembley Stadium. No risks, alright? We can't have you getting injured. You're gonna take it a tad easy, alright? And just make sure you don't get hurt? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This was a TV bloody brawl. Went for the speed and athletics in front of the Mexican crowd to best the big bear man. Davies got a bin, Davies got a bin, na, bam, tossed right in Will's noggin. I adore spots like that. And the best ad break lead spot of the night, just launching Will over the barricade right into a fan, quotation marks. But it came so out of nowhere that it worked really well. Like, there was no establishing shot we could see the fan getting in position or anything. You don't even suspect anything's going to happen. Suddenly, bam, Mark Davies just chucks him over the barricade. There's somebody there to catch it, but it's just so random out of nowhere. Had a wee walk and brawl during the break, up those steps to the stage, returned in time to actually do something. A board cracked over Ospreay's head and down the steps he tumbled, made funny by commentaries really serious. Oh no! Saying as he starts tumbling down. I love it when wrestling does something silly, but the commentators have to sell it as something being serious. Oh man, he could be seriously hurt as I'm just watching go bumty bumty bum down the stairs. Mark Davies not clean for TV. Give me my fucking chair back. I may have anglicised him. Already about 6 chairs in the ring, but he needed that specific one. Winning with a head blood after getting driven into a corner prop chair, and then Davies got a fork out to stab him in the forehead. After the violence, a wee fancy pop-up off the chairs to springboard Ozcutter, very fancy. Fork paid back in kind, a wee display of Ospreay's willingness for violence as Davies got the colour too. And bloody hell, 2 chairs set. Davies, I think, was going for a drive from the shoulders into a sit-down powerbomb or driver thing, but the way Ospreay dropped, the man was just dropped kind of to the side of Big Dunk. For all I know, that was far safer in the end, but always scary when it's not quite what was intended. More blood! Raked Ospreay's back with barbed barbed wire and blood immediately trickled. So a cheeky long dick grab from the Englishman, piledriver on the apron. Like he held on for a good amount of time. Just staring him in the face going, ah! Davies just beat the 10 count to rise to his feet and immediately ate a hidden blade for his troubles, ending with actual fast-paced wrestling with all the violence nonsense we've had. Hell of a counterculture with a snap to the end with the Davies piledriver. So fucking impressive. Davies followed up barbed wire lariat flip over, countered into the Styles Clash. 13 Paulson over, back to the violence for a final brutal William beat. Stiff forearm shots, barbed wire around the Aussie Bear head. Hidden blade for the win. Ospreay sure not taking it easy with England only 3 weeks out. We're not just on the road to Wembley. We're 3 weeks out. And he's having this violent brawl with the Bear Man. Like, William, you got 2 more weeks. You're going to have to calm down a little bit. You're not Darby Allin. Plans for your post-Wembley. There were questions before this Arena Mexico show because last year's was such a great show. It was, could this stand up? And for me, I had such a blast. I still have really fond memories of last year's show, and I felt I had such a great time this time. There were lots of party tags. There was one match I wasn't in the women with the Shida interference. I wasn't like cheering for that one really. It was on my screen. But the rest of the show, I had such a great time. For 3 hours, absolutely flew by. Of course, I watch it the next day. I can also like take breaks, wind through the adverts, skip through downtimes if I'm really not feeling it. Like, I am able to make the show a little bit shorter, so it wasn't 3 hours for me. And best thing of all, I don't have to review it the next day. The part of this doing this format is I get to wait all the way till Sunday to actually talk about it. So I'm not in like a massive rush to get through the show, which really does help. Stepping away from social media helps as well. Like, there's no pressure of, I can't go on till I've watched the show. It's like, why do I want to go on? It's a hellscape. like no. Anyway, that was the Grand Slam Mexico show. Highly recommended. Such a super fun show. And then we go over to Collision and the beginning of this Continental Cup thing. It's a shame last week's little period of Mox having no idea how this was going to work, but being totally up for it, just laughing at whenever he heard somebody's going to be in a tournament, being like, yeah, that's awesome. I enjoyed Mox last week. Then we found out what it was, and obviously as an Englishman, I'm like, it's cool to see the way that we do our cups represented here. Sounds kind of like they were trying to make this a thing afterwards as well. There is no tournament like this in wrestling. For it to be totally random every round, it is exactly how we do our cups over in our football. The whole point being that nobody has that advantage over anyone because anyone could be drawn against anybody. It does mean you get big matches in like the very first opportunity you can, but you also get giant killers. Every year there's giant killers. The Premier League clubs, every year they get knocked out by lower league ones. Like, it's a huge deal. So I don't know what part of that's going to be echoed in this. It feels more like they're going towards you can have any kind of random matchup because it's literally drawn from a hat. So because they're going for that vibe, they have to make sure to book certain matches that sell that. And we got our first example of that on Collision. So let's jump on over to there and talk about this Continental Cup thing, because it was a show where that was the main drive of it. And whether you're into this Continental Cup thing or not will decide whether you enjoy Collision. Because it's very much the main draw. So anyway, let's jump on over to Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
The punch by Austin. It comes down. Oh, there was 1, 2, 3.
This is also likely to be a much shorter Collision review. Yes, we had the Grand Slam Mexico show, which took a bit more time. But there were quite a few jobber matches on this show, or like a little showcase match for anything, which I don't have a lot to say about. But first we do have the Continental Cup. And as I just played the sound of Claudio Castagnoli having a win, the first match was Claudio Castagnoli versus Ace Austin. The young Bang Bang man, unfortunately drawn against Super Swiss. Like, hey, at least he got his ad break lead in cheer. And he again got to show off that he's a big, strong boy, powering Claudio on his shoulders. Ringside too athletic for Claudio, back from break, still Fosby flopped toe paying successfully. Leg drop off the top landed all grand too. Eventually Castagnoli got the better of the bandana kid, but he kept getting himself into trouble, acting a tad too lackadaisical. Just pure Swiss power got him back in. Less of a beautiful suplex, more of a hoist and toss. Pop-up uppercut for the win, no hanging about. Claudio celebrated before just immediately popping off back through the crowd, like onto the next one. A fun opener with Ace Austin getting lots and lots of momentum, and eventually Claudio just powers and snaps in. Later in the show, Claudio is backstage with Mox, his Continental Championship taken off him for the tournament tournament sold that he feels naked now. And also the animosity between the Death Riders and the Bang Bang Gang for later, as well as his Cup first round match against Jack Perry on Wednesday. I'll just bash into the other notes before going through the show. We got plenty of replays of things. Mexico, Motor City Machine Guns debut last week. It just feels like for a long time AEW were reluctant to do this, but whoever's in the production truck now, they're like, no, we can still keep the feeling of the show, keep it wrestling focused, and do the odd replay. It doesn't have to be like WWE where you're giving the replay purely to make sure the dumbest person in the room is able to understand the story they're telling. Don't have to do it that way. But reminders help. Heck, it's not the worst thing in the world, especially for a long ongoing thing like wrestling is. Just little reminders of what the main stories are is absolutely fine. The dogs barked on about their victories. Finley got a moment to chat shit at Jay White about the Continental Cup match on Wednesday. Very much leaning into the who let the dogs out bit. It's one thing to lean into it, but to lean into it hard in 2026. The dogs feel like they're looking for their thing to properly connect with the audience. I personally like the energy and animosity they take to their matches. Outside of the chain match, that was weird. But I like them in the bit that they play. But it does feel like they're missing that next thing to really make them connect. This isn't it. This isn't it. I like the energy that they're addressing this with, that they're going at it with. But I don't think the who let the dogs out thing is going to be a thing that really gets connecting and really gets the crowd chanting or whatever. Like on that one occasion, they chanted it. It's like, oh, they're doing a who let the dogs out thing. Yeah. Don't make it your main thing, though. Surely not. Kevin Knight in his blue tracksuit was confident chatting shit on Darby Allin. Also chatted shit on Jericho. Challenged Jericho for a match for his TNT Championship. So confident they will easily wipe the Mexico lost blemish off of his record. So first off, don't make Jericho TNT champion right before Wembley. Even if Jericho loses it at Wembley, I'm just like, this felt like a character setup moment for Kevin Knight. But they've been building up Darby Allin, Kevin Knight for so long. I do feel like it'll be weird to prolong that to All Out or whatever. To do a mini program with Jericho, Kevin Knight through Wembley it doesn't feel quite right, because you're going to go back to Kevin Knight, Darby Allin. Just do Kevin Knight, Darby Allin. Don't overthink it. Fozzy don't need to perform at Wembley. The only reason they do is you're purposely putting a piss break in there. Before the main event, we got a wee tribute for Dory Funk. Shivani, the correct choice to pay tribute. And we had a quick moment with the Hurt Syndicate and Shane Taylor Promotions. Taylor offered money just for the meet. Apparently, STP are wanting to hire the Syndicate's help, and we'll see who's agreed to wrestle them, or what the idea is. This has felt more like that familiar feeling that we had around like the Rusevs and the Malachi Blacks, that the reason they were off TV was more to do with like creative stuff not being agreed, rather than them trying to sell a thing. We're going to let an idea bubble or whatever. Like, it just feels like those reads over the Hurt Syndicate are doing that thing again where they don't want to take losses is again hurting them in AEW. Like, AEW is not the promotion to pull that in, and this feels like the next example of that. I could be reading the room entirely wrong for all I know. It's just that's the vibe around all of this. It feels so similar. That old brain of having to protect your brand like that doesn't work in AEW. That's not how they do it. Speaking of taking losses, the Brawling Birds versus the Jobber Ladies, Viva Van and Vert Vixen. Just a wee jobber dance to set up our first bit since the Wembley title match got announced. Brawling from the off, the Jobber Lasses, no chance. Focused all the brawling fun on Vert Vixen, with the crowd getting behind Hater in particular. Vert Vixen got to spring out the corner with a fancy kick. Viva Van flew in with a rotating one herself, but a double lariat from Hater sorted that out. Allowed Windsor her charges to clean up. Double headbutt, double charging lariat, 2 birds, 1 stone for the win. But the real reason this happened, after the match the Divine Dominion's music played, the tall women attacked from behind, Boo Buddy beat down, and poor Windsor onto the timekeeper's no breaky table. The fans got like, we're going to see table spot, and then, no, that looked like it hurt. So at least it looked like obviously Windsor won't feel this way, but at least it looked like it hurt. At least you are standing there being like, that didn't look great. That looked like it probably hurt your back. But I know they're wrestlers. The fact it looked like it hurt, that's it. That's fine. Back to the Continental Cup. First round, Orange Cassidy versus Matt Sydal. 2 Theme Cassidys switched over back to Jane. Hooray. Someone on Blue Sky called this such a AEW Dark main event, and yeah, they're so right. From the beginning of AEW, where you'd get a relative star, and then just a random. Like, you get somebody versus Joey Janela. Matt Sydal's got his foot fixed. The weed also helped. Over 20 months out on this occasion, and such a different cup match from the first. Really there to sell the randomness of this draw, with this a pairing you'd never normally see against each other. Cassidy standing moonsault. Didn't hit Sydal, but he did do a flip. Such a silly ad break lead, with them trading blows up in the corner. Cassidy selling being off balance, before going, nah, I'm fine. And then they both just knocked each other down. down. Let's go Orange, let's go Matt. Dueling chants as the Tunnel Talk girls fume. That's not his name. This is awesome with the actual wrestling flow afterwards. Cassidy trying to rise to Seidel's pace and athleticism. That's when the hands went into the pockets, to full effect drawing his Seidel in spite of him not playing along. Spin around DDT but nay Orange Punch, because you've got to let Seidel do his shooting star. Landing on his feet as Cassidy rolled away, swish into the beach break win. Blind draw, so we've no clue who any of these winners are facing. Commentary very much leaning into faction friends possibly facing each other, so I guess that's what we should be expecting next round. They were so heavily talking about this, so we can't be hyping up the conglomeration match later. You are just setting us up to have this, some form of faction meeting in the next round and be going, oh look how random it is, the faction friends have met each other. AEW with both the talent to set something up so it feels more natural when it does happen, but also that removes any feeling of randomness because you set it up so he would accept it. The Rascals versus Jobbers, Steve Fuerte and Aaron Solo. A very nothing Jobber showcase for Vince and Xavier. Nice double knees to a held Steven. Hot Fire Flame push Vince shooting star onto the Fuerte for the win. Cut promo after, they know about flying high, because of the weed. AEW is where the best wrestle. Myron Reed just announced he has a match with Mike Bailey and, oh, okay, guess we're just jumping straight into that. That's just immediately swinging in. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Myron Reed. Bailey's wee showcase after his Mexico loss made the flight to Colorado to have his two athletic folk dance with the Rascal. Speedball's kicks too quick for Reed to begin with. Both got their momentum when it came to the springs and dives though. Back from break with them both trading on the apron. No one likes shattering their knees like Bailey does. Double moonsault with no Myron home. Set up a cutter to the outside with them both landing on their feet. It's like, okay. My immediate question of, and no knee sell from Bailey? He's just done the double spot and immediately did this cutter thing onto his knees. Speedball winning out all fancy with his rotating springboard moonsault. Now we get the setting of the knee. It's like, oh, okay. Plenty of, every move from here on out. I mean, sending himself digging deep from out of nowhere. Oh, that's the commentary way to explain it. Cool duck of Bailey spinning kick to pop-up cutter for Myron. Then another cutter. Reed's moment diving out over the corner. The man in full flow. Just an absolute flash to wake the crowd right the hell up. Trevor Lee's inside out thing for the win. Don't know what it's called. If I called it Trevor Lee's inside out thing, how far back am I going? That's a decade, right? When was he in Impact? When was the first time I saw Trevor Lee do that move? Or PWG. When was the first time I saw him do it in Impact? That's such a while ago. When was I watching Impact? It's got to be at least 10 years ago. Anyway, that's a huge tangent. This was the match to wake up the crowd with this one. We're in the middle of that flow of jobber match, cut match, jobber match, cut match. They just needed something to break the formula. And into our setup tags. First was Hikaru Shida and Persephone versus Maya World and Hyan. Hyan, unfortunately, a side character right now. Is she even that? Is she even some form of like, also starring? Like, is she even on the opening credits of the TV show? So it makes a lot of sense for her to eat all of the baddie times so her TBS champion partner could get her run. This match is the first time I can think of commentary being really on point about the ref's 5 count when you're both in the ring rule. Mostly odd because it was like that rule was not only just being tested to see how maybe the fans respond in this match, but it was also only that spot. There were plenty of other times in the match where the ref didn't do the count. So why are you doing it specifically in this one? I mean, fine, if you want to try rule, that's right, but you've got to be consistent with it. Like, if you want to get any form of opinion. World and Hyan flowed all tag times, good times, but cheeky villainry cost them. Stephanie made sure Maya stayed on the outside. Hyan nailed her spear, but was in danger after Shida kicked out. Up on Japanese shoulders and driven down for the Shida win. I mean, I thought Persephone and Shida flowed as a pretty good team. I already know that Maya World and Hyan are a good team, but I was delightfully surprised by Shida and Persephone having pretty good chemistry together. Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson and the Guns and Jack Perry versus John Moxley, Pac, Wheeler Yuta and Danny Garcia of the Death Riders. Juice was just grinding up yeehaw on Rick Knox during Tarzan Boy. Better say that man was in a mood in this match. Our only party tag of the night, a level of restraint rarely seen on AEW TV. The Jungle Man got the hot tag to chop fire with Mox. Austin Gunn was just an energized explosion of pace. Man was just charging about like something rabid. Set his brother up who got to fame as a man, but that meant that Paul Colton was all alone for the Death Rider Stardom faction charge. Juice in to just juice punch each rider one at a time as they ran at him. Like, even the Death Riders can be cartoon silliness. Perry moonsault onto 3 of the riders, Yuta alone with Colton. Running knee dropkick stopped. Marina Shafir got her moment up onto the apron, and the dogs ran in with a distraction to take out Austin. Colton once again alone with no save coming. After the match, Perry had recovered enough though to hit his running knee on Yuta and send a message to Mox and get the stare down. And I was wondering, was that Perry's theme that played? I was wondering if this was like a new Death Rider theme for Yuta afterwards. Like, did they play the wrong Perry theme and just went along with it like whatever? Then the main event, in what felt like a grand return for at Eddie Kingston, but I swear I've watched him and Ortiz wrestle. Like, am I making this up? Was that last year? What's going on? But yeah, Eddie Kingston back for the Continental Cup versus Jake Doyle. As he was making his entrance, Eddie kept his promo simple. He won the first Continental Classic. He's gonna win the first Continental Cup. I do miss Eddie on my AEW television. And right into big beefy chopping meat. Got to wait till after the ad break to get your lifts of power. And that's exactly what we return to. Jake is strong, but exploder from Eddie. Fuck him up, Eddie. Fuck him up, clap clap. Stiff beefy Doyle lariat times grounded Kingston, but he kept snapping back, suplexing the meat man. Second attempt at the sit-down powerbomb successful. A kick out that brought out Doyle's frustration proper for the first time. Forearm strike dance looked to be in motion via Doyle's ignition, but Eddie was faking. Backfist immediately rocked the big meat groggy. A second backfist grounded the bastard, then a delightful rear choke for the win. Eddie the third of our 8 to re-enter the hat. It sounds less cool when you word it like that. We don't do it in hats over here. We've got like big bowls, and Sky TV do it with their production lights. It's not just Tony Khan sat in a dark room holding a hat that they've already pulled them all out of. Like, they do the draw in front of you so you can see that it's random. That's the thing with wrestling. That's what I was saying last week. It's like you could technically actually do this random, but you've got your seeds in the way that you've done it. So there's a way to kind of fix it with it still looking random. But no, Tony Khan was holding the hat and they're going, I promise you, we've already done the draw and we've done it totally random. These are the names. Like, no. But I'll go along with it for the bit. In your world, I'm believing it. You're trying to sell me that it's random. It's wrestling, it's fine. It's not too big a deal. But there's a reason they do it in front of the big clear balls as well. So you can see if they try to manipulate it. But at least I do like that they thought to have a hat on the set. So Tony Khan was holding a Jaguar helmet upside down. So at least they could sell that we just plucked them out of this hat. Off camera, you don't get to see it. Anyway, I like the idea of this Continental Cup because obviously it's based on our cups, but just to see what it's like, to see how people respond to that idea of everybody re-enters the hat. So there is no tree, there is no, like, you can figure out who's going to be facing who. There's none of that. No, it's just a coincidence if we get to John Moxley versus somebody in a singles match at Wembley. It's just a huge coincidence. I mean, you book John Moxley to win no matter who he comes across, and there's surely got enough names to make it to the other side. But that brings me to the end of the week. Watch the Arena Mexico show if you've got the time. I understand it's G1 time, but it's 3 hours long. But I really enjoyed myself. I'm really behind this idea for the Continental Cup, so if you too want to check out the Continental Cup, then Collision is a must-watch at least for those matches. And because there were jobber matches there too, you can just skip them. You can skip the jobber matches or whatever, the stuff in between. Like, even technically the Bang Bang Gang Death Rider thing isn't super necessary to watch. Almost very much a G1 style tag match before the actual tournament match on the next show, because we're getting Jack Perry versus Moxley on Wednesday, and that was the point of this. We're getting Jay White Finlay as well. So if you want, you can just watch the cup matches for Collision if you're interested there. Anyway, absolutely, Mexico's the shining star this week, without question. I did pick my match of the night in terms of either Speedball Bailey or Ospreay versus Davies, but the whole show was so fun. From minute one, because of the way that they were singing for Cope. Like, the very first entrance of the show is electric, and that's just the way I felt for the entire show. To keep that energy up for 3 hours is really impressive. Anyway, I will be back this time next week to talk about the Continental Cup in Las Vegas and wherever Collision is, I've already forgotten. But they announced all the matches, so we'll be getting more cup times over this next week. So with that, I say thank you for listening, liking, engaging in any form, any manner. Always appreciated, never take it for granted. I forget to plug shit, but I know that off by heart. Like, come on. Come on. I'll be back this time next week to talk about Dynamite and Collision on the build to All In and the Continental Cup matches as we roll on. And we see if it works at all. So far, I've had 3 matches. That's nothing to go on. I enjoyed the matches enough, but there's not really a lot here. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, that's I bid you adieu to oh, I know, we're leaving Mexico and Spain, so adios.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.